Boom! What's up, y'all? Welcome to the Kenny Parker Show. We do this every Tuesday and Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I'm glad you guys are with me on this day. Um, Spook Realm 4Q, once again, you are number one. Let me move this a little bit like that. Like so. Y'all can see my face when the questions come across. Okay, PSA. If you ain't a jive turkey, then buy the epic true story. My brother's name is Kenny. Yes, the link is in the description below, and the audio book is coming very soon. Assault that like button, please. We have hundreds of people that watch the show every week that don't hit the like button. Um, I guess it is what it is, but I'm going to keep saying it every week. Please hit the like button because it helps the algorithm. And third, big up to the Rewind crew. Um, we got to jump right in with the sad news of the day. Earlier today, I saw that innovative R&B legend and a voice of his generation, yeah, passed today. Um, D'Angelo. And it's interesting because he's the type of guy, artist that you don't really hear much about. Um, didn't really uh, know much about his personal life. He will disappear for years. Um, and people don't know where he is or what he's doing. Sadly, when I first heard of it, I was thinking about his son, who has lost his mother, Angie Stone, another legendary R&B artist, lost his mother and father within 7 months. 7 months ago, this young man had his mother and father. And now they're both gone just like that. It makes you start thinking about life and what's really important in life. Um, Sometimes we worry about things, financial problems, things people say, career, uh, a whole host of things that are real problems, but in the scheme of things, compared to your health, are nothing, minuscule. And we here in America, we have it so good compared to most of the rest of the world as far as an as far as resources. And it makes you think about it. D'Angelo, I had the pleasure of meeting him briefly once for a second. Um, I was at a meeting at EMI Records. This is back in '96 when Heather B was signed to EMI Records, and we was having a meeting with, I believe, the president of the company. We were having a meeting, and this is when Brown Sugar was his single. And he stuck his head into the meeting. I guess he didn't know that a meeting was in progress. And he stuck his head in, and he was like, oh, excuse me. Um, he stuck his head in real quick, and we were having a meeting. He stuck his head back out. And when we wrapped up the meeting, we came out. He said, "What's up? What's up?" I remember he stuck his head in the meeting, and his eyes were so low they were practically closed. I remember that. That's the one and only time I ever been in the same place and time with D'Angelo that I know of. But this one really hit me today. We talk about, this is mainly a hip hop channel, but we talk about everything on this channel, and we talk about R&B a lot. And D'Angelo came out at a time when it seemed like R&B R&B was booming, but it seemed like it started to stray a little bit from its roots in the mid 90s. Seemed like hip hop was the hip hop culture and sound was starting to dominate so much that it started to nudge R&B in a direction. And then we had the for lack of a better term, the neo soul movement. And D'Angelo was, excuse me, right at the forefront of that movement, along with, Erica Badu and Jill Scott, these people, among others. But and it seems like it would be great for R&B if we had another nudge right now, 2025, another nudge back in the direction of the roots of R&B, like neo soul came out in 96, 97. um some young boy, imagine a young boy like D'Angelo coming out right now and really making some noise. But there'll never be another D'Angelo. um He had a cover on his first album of Cruisin' by the great Smokey Robinson, which I really used to like. I used to play all the time. And of course, the banging DJ Premier remix of You're My Lady, um, with AZ. Shout out to AZ on that was rhyming in the break. Um, and I saw that Raphael Sadiq was saying that he had met with D'Angelo earlier in the year, and they were planning on working on some new music, and then boom. So all you guys out there, if you get a chance, please get a physical, guys and girls, please get a physical just to see, where your body's at. Hopefully something, you know, something that maybe could be prevented or maybe caught in the early stages can save your life. I mean, cancer is no joke, man. Um, I'm gonna get off the D'Angelo downer right now, but it really had me down today because he was a beloved artist, really beloved artist, and private, and just was like boom. So yes, I see a lot of comments on D'Angelo, and we're gonna talk about him, I guess, during the course of the show. Uh, Gregory Nettis, what up? Rod Justice Hip Hop, what up? I'm super behind, but I'll catch up in a second. Let me run through some names. Uh, JCW's 822967. What up? Uh, I saw that Nas and Preem have a release time for their album. I guess it's December. It took them 2 years to make this album. I'm curious to see how it's going to sound. Premier has been super busy this year. He has like 3 projects coming out. But this one is going to be interesting. I did not get a chance to listen to the Mobb Deep album yet. I've been busy this week. I was going to listen to it today. Um, when I got the news of D'Angelo, it kind of changed my mood a little bit. So I was like, I'll check it out tomorrow. Um, Smooth T 365 is Terrence Hill. Terrence Hill, what up? YouTube be switching up my name sometimes. That's funny. What up, Terrence Hill? Um, let's see. I'm gonna scroll. Rasul Hassan, what's up? What up, KP? The Tupac estate are going after the AI stuff. I hope they are successful. I didn't hear that. I wonder what that's about. People using Tupac's likeness to make songs. This is going to be a real tricky one because whatever the judgment's going to be is going to affect AI and music moving forward. Um, This AI stuff is gonna get, like I said, it's gonna get to the point where if something is not right in front of your face, you're not gonna be able to believe whether it's true or not, and that's dangerous. Here's a name I don't recognize. Do I recognize this name? Oh no, yes I do. This looks different. MMA Crossfire Kanai. I didn't recognize. I saw the whole thing. What up, MMA? Is are they really changing up the names like that? JT, what's up? Yeah, I see the names are having different endings on them. Mr. York, what up from the beat Northeast Bronx? Um, Mike Rocks 25. Latrice Washington, what's up? Jermaine Braun, what's up? Carl Schreiner, what's up? Derek Mallory, salute from Minneapolis. Corey Flood, what's up? Yeah, MMA says D'Angelo was only 51, which makes it even more uh, sad because 51 is young, man. As we all know, 51 is, especially in this day and age, you should have many decades to live. Uh, but we don't get to say what we have. We don't get to say. Gregory Dennis says Kenny with a new shirt. Oh man, I just came into this back. This, if you guys recognize, this is the original backdrop. I just came in here for a second. Chef Daddy, what up? Christopher Caldwell, what up? Sydney Rhodes, what up? Um, yeah, Drake Stocks Dollars asked, "Have you met him?" Yes, briefly. The Gray Bearded, what's up? The original CMC, B-Ball Jones in, what's up? I see a lot of the regulars. Smooth T. Um, yeah, it's Dre Stack Dollar said, "That's sad. I lost my oldest brother, then mother from lupus 18 months apart a few years back." Wow, condolences to you, Dre Stacks. Crush me, I'm still healing. Then I lost my daughter. Sheesh. I mean, I have no words for that kind of pain, man. Um, that's tough. Queen La Madrina, what's good? I don't recognize that name. Are you new to the channel? Hey, look who's checking in today. Anyway, what's up? Yes, R.I.P. D'Angelo. Um, Straight Heat, salute DJ KP checking in from Flatbush BK as per usual. Big up Flatbush. Out of all the places that I've lived, my family lived all over New York. And my brother, his formative years were made in the Bronx, and he represents the BX. My formative years are in Brooklyn, and I represent BK, and specifically Flatbush is where I grew up mostly. Um, Gregory Nettis says they don't make music like D'Angelo make. Yeah, I mean, he had a really smooth, almost a throwback voice. He sounded like one of those crooners from the late 60s, early 70s, but he was young. And his subject matter was, it was always current subject matter, but he had like a little twist on it that made it. He was he wasn't hip hop, but he was. You could tell he was of the culture. Corey Fluster, what exactly was neo soul? I never understood that name and what was the qualifier. I don't really understand the name, but you know, in the music industry and in radio and in promotions, every sound or every style of music has to fit in a box and it has to be in a genre. And R&B at that time sounded a certain way. So this was almost like I felt it was like more of a throwback sound, like a new throwback sound, like a reintroduction to R&B sounds of the 70s. But I don't know. Neo Soul, they just put that label out there and we just, it was what it was. I don't know, man. Juggle Rock says Kenny out here looking like the leader of the Rolling 60s. Wow. I am so far from that. Much love and respect to all tuning in tonight. Benny Doyle says to say what's up to everyone. Big up to Benny Doyle. Big up to the Doyle brothers. Yeah, my blue. I decided to switch it up a little bit. What was your favorite D'Angelo song, Kenny? Probably You're My Lady. I played a lot. That Preem remix, I played a lot. And Cruising, like I said, his remake of Cruising, the Smokey Robinson classic. I played those two songs a lot when they were out. Um, remember he had a record with D'Angelo where they sitting on a porch and he had the dark skinned girl was the lead. Can't remember the name of the song. I used to like that. Ronan Ali, what's up? Peace. Cutie Pie, what's up? This is crazy. OMG D'Angelo. Rest in peace. Seen him live and was lucky enough to end up in the front row. He got on one knee like he was singing to me and held my hand. Drip sweat all over me. I was in love. That is a dope experience. That's what I'm talking about. I always talk about on this show about live performers and how the real greats, when you see them live, it's almost better than listening to the music, and they leave you listening to the album, and it leaves you with an experience you never forgot. Cutie Pie never forgot her experience with D'Angelo. A lot of women seem to love D'Angelo. Uh, Now he was dope. Emma Bad One. Yeah, they changing up all the names today. What's up? Hey, Sweet Goldilocks. What's up? But yeah, they changing up the names. Um, let's see. Let me scroll down a little bit. Gregory Netta says that Mob Deep album is an instant classic. Getting a lot of getting a lot of positive from what I see in the people's comment section, getting a lot of positive um feedback in a lot of comment sections. But I gotta listen to it myself. Um, Jungle Rock says it's G Doyle. YouTube is be playing with my name tonight. Yeah, it seems like YouTube is messing with everybody's name. Jay Wu, he doesn't say it, but New Haven, Connecticut. Yeah, Markeith, I'm looking forward to hearing. You know how much I love native tongue on this channel. I'm gonna be looking forward to hearing that De La Soul too. Big up to Paz, Dove, Mace, Prince Paul, um, the whole crew. Dizzy says, "Hey Kenny, did you change the pictures behind you? It looks like there's a new one on the bottom right." No, probably the glare is different. Bottom right, my bottom right would be me and the Grandmaster Flash, one of my heroes. And on this day, I got him to sign my copy of Freedom, which was my favorite record when I was a youth. And Flash signed it for me. And the other side is me and Master G of the Sugar Hill Gang. Um, that's the first time that I met him. That was a couple summers ago, and I lost it. Rapper's Delight is a very special song in my life. Changed my whole listening of music. Um, Kenneth Smith, here's a definition for Corey Flood. Neo soul is a genre of music that fuses contemporary R&B and soul with elements of hip hop, jazz, funk, and gospel, characterized by smooth melodies like live instrumentation and often I don't see the rest, but I mean that sounds like it could be anything. Anyway, KP, I'm back. I was cruising for 2 weeks. Caribbean cruise took us to MA, ME, and Bermuda. MAME. I don't know what that is, but I'm always down for some warm weather. I've never been on a cruise in my life. Mr. York says Alias is on deck. Yes, we're gonna try to figure out who's who. Um, David Olson says, "What up, Kenny? What do you think about the Curry brothers on the same team?" Yeah, I saw that Seth signed with Golden State. Uh, well, the fact that he signed to Golden State, considering his brother is a iconic giant over there, the greatest shooter of all time, they must have a great relationship. Because if Seth had any reservations about being around his brother too much or being in his shadow or anything like that, he definitely wouldn't have signed there. So the fact that he did sign means it's a good look. And same as Giannis has his brothers there. Um, that's dope. I think it's dope. Seeing them on the court at the same time playing with each other, I know their parents are gonna bug out. Um, Shout out to Del Curry. I want to tell this story real quick. I always said if I ever met Del Curry, I would tell him this story. Years ago, when I was still playing ball out in the park, this had to be 2011, summer of 2011. I was in the park and there was this guy, Spanish guy, who worked as what you call it, a bellhop at a hotel in the area. But he would play in the park. We'd play on Sunday mornings. And one day we was out in the park and this guy was shooting from deep, like 30 feet. And every time he shot the ball, he would say, Del Curry, and shoot the ball. And I was like, let me switch off and get on this guy. I'm way taller than him. Let me put some real D on him. Yo, he was drilling. He must have shot 4 jumpers in my face, swish, every last one of them from like 30 feet. And he just kept yelling, Del Curry. I said to myself, I've been playing basketball for decades, since I was a youngster, my whole life. I've heard people in the park be every conceivable basketball player you could think of. I have never heard anyone say they were Del Curry, not Steph Curry, his father, who, by the way, was a fantastic shooter when he used to play for Charlotte. And this guy was just yelling Del Curry and was lighting the park up one night. Spanish dude. And I always said to myself, if I ever meet Del Curry, I would love to tell him this story about how there was a dude in the park in 2011 who was Del Curry and he was on fire. Carl Schreiner says, yeah, I'm flowing you one. Yeah, they just out here right now. Oh, you two. Wonder what's going on. Um, Faithon says a lot of turbo cancer going on in the last 4 years. Can we even say that word without getting flagged? I don't know what that means, but um, yeah, it's a devastating disease. Um, I know a guy, a DJ from a rap group who you guys would know, who passed away last year, was feeling fine. And then he had a little pain, and he went to the doctor, and the doctor was like, "Oh, you're stage 4, and you have months to live. Get your affairs in order." The guy was just chilling, living his life. And all of a sudden, he had months to go, and he passed. A DJ. I'm not going to say his name, but if I said the crew, you guys would know who it was. I did not know this, Mr. York. Angie Stone also has a daughter from a previous relationship with rapper Little Rodney C from Double Trouble and Funky 4+1. I did not know that. Double Trouble, Double Trouble. Did not know that. Angie Stone would have been a great person to talk to about the early days of hip hop, man. Would have been great. Engage VR, what's up? Um, Gregor Ness says Kenny singing Anyway, his hit single from Boom Record. Yo, I would have the shortest show in history. I would come out, the crowd would go crazy. I'd be like, y'all ready? Anyway. All right, get home safe. People would start filing out. I gotta add some other songs to my repertoire. Yes, Latrice, continued healings, Dre Stacks. Yes, man. What? This is Patrick Y disguised as Mr. York. What? Patrick Y. Yo, wow. This, I don't know what is going on. What religion was D'Angelo? I have no idea. I don't know much about D'Angelo. Um, he was from Virginia, but when he decides to be out of the spotlight, he is out. He's almost like the male Sade. Sade, she'll take 10 years and just be gone. Then she'll just drop. And I saw somewhere that Sade has a new tour coming next year. But you can't believe anything that you saw or see in social media. But if that's true, that's gonna be crazy. That is something I have got to see before. This might be her last go. Because if she takes another 10 years after this, it's been more than that actually. But yeah, D'Angelo is like Sade, just disappears completely, which is, and when you're in entertainment, sometimes that's really the way to go, man. Just disappear for a while and live your life. Uh, Beyond the Matrix says Maxwell's music was popping too. Yeah. I don't know if he was ever considered neo soul though. Like I never heard them lump him in like that, but he was dope. Uh, let's see. Cutie Pie says Brown Sugar was her favorite song. I like Brown Sugar too. Brown Sugar was dope. Um, Plata No DC says KP, have you ever seen the video of the old white ladies doing Sound of the Police? No, but I gotta look that up. I mentioned this on this channel. I was talking to my brother right before he left to go do some more shows, and we were talking about his signature song, and he feels that "Sound of the Police" is his signature song out of all the songs he made. Um, because a lot of the newer audience, they don't really know Criminal Mind. I mean, they know South Bronx. There's certain songs that they'll know, but those songs, Criminal Minded, even My Philosophy, is still number one. They're big, but Sound of the Police is like one of the biggest records in his catalog right now. He told me it's in 4 movies. Um, and there's a whole story behind that. I think I did a Sound of the Police. I did do a Sound of the Police breakdown on this channel. If you're new to the channel, about a couple years back, I did a whole breakdown of that 12-inch, how the whole thing came about. So check that out if you haven't. And yeah, it's very interesting how much that life, that how many legs and life that song still has. Uh, I've seen police, I've seen video of police cars driving down the block. And instead of having a siren on, boy, they put on Sounds of the Police. Whoop, whoop, Sounds of the Police, and they're driving through the hood. Crazy. Um, I gotta look up the lady though. Um, Yeah, Mike Rocks. Angie Stone took it back to '79 with Sequence. She was in the earliest days of hip hop on wax. That's why I'm saying um she would have been a fantastic guest. Jamil Lott says, "What's how did BDP get the name Boogie Down Productions?" Uh, I believe you have the book. Jamil Lott, do you have the book? I go into great detail about all of that. Um, But basically, Boogie Down is a nickname for the Bronx. In New York, um, just about all of the boroughs have nicknames, and then the towns in the boroughs have nicknames. So, Money Making Manhattan and um, Harlem was Uptown, and in Brooklyn you got Bed-Stuy, Do or Die, things like that. Brownsville never ran, never will. Brownsville is wild. The Bronx is the Boogie Down Bronx. The Boogie Down Bronx. And the story that Chris tells me is that Scott LaRock, rest in peace, came up with the name the Boogie Down Crew. They were called the Boogie Down Crew. And KRS was like, no, we're going to do more than just be rappers. They wanted to do production, artist management. They wanted to be a whole conglomerate like Def Jam. So KRS One came with the productions. So Scott LaRock had Boogie Down Crew. KRS said, no, it's Boogie Down Productions. And then it stuck. That's the story I got from KRS One's mouth. Uh, Hold on, let me see something. The original CMC, thank you so much for your contribution to the channel. As usual, I mean, you already know what it is. Ironic. KP has a song and show the same name. KP has a song and show with the same name. What do you mean? Oh, the Kenny Parker show. Kenny Parker has a show, and yeah, well, I was trying to come up with a title for the show, and the Kenny Parker show, which KRS One named that song. That, by the way, I have a breakdown of that too. I believe the Love's Gonna Get You 12-inch breakdown on this channel, and you'll see how the whole thing came about, the Kenny Parker show. But yeah, I decided to name it that. I'm not a person who would be big on like pushing my name out there like that, but I thought like for this is this social media? Is YouTube social media? For this platform, I decided to put my name out there like that. Um, let's see. Jungle Rock says, I missed the last couple of lives. But R.I.P. to Arturo Gotti Jr. I saw that. R.I.P. Lawrence Moat, Poetry Moat. We talked about Lawrence Moten. Great. Is he still the all-time leading scorer in Syracuse history? I believe so. Basketball. And R.I.P. Diane Keaton. I forgot about Diane Keaton. Um, a mainstay at basketball games, but she was immortalized in The Godfather, which is usually at the top when you see all the lists of the greatest movies of all time. All of these publications make their list. I'm not big into publication lists, but usually right at the top of the list is usually like Gone with the Wind and The Godfather. Those movies be right up at the top. And Diane Keaton was the wife. And I just saw recently that Al Pacino in real life, they had a thing for each other, but she wanted to be with him, but he kept pushing her off because he wasn't ready or was scared. So in real life, Al Pacino could have dated Diane Keaton, just like in the movie. But yeah, Diane Keaton, big up. Rich Shot says, can CKP playing like Rick Mahorn? I hate the Detroit Bad Boy Pistons. So I respect to Rick Mahorn, but my game was a little bit different than his. I tried to be like Bernard King. He was my idol growing up. Uh, I met Rick Mahorn too. Rick Mahorn used to have a club. Was it in South Jersey or was it in Philly? And it was called Mahorn's. And we did a few shows there. Yeah, Rick Mahorn booked BDP a few times. Come to think of it, yes. Um, since Benny Doyle is here, we're gonna do the Benny Doyle scroll down because I'm falling behind and I want to catch up a little bit. So we're gonna stop right here. We want the Heather B version of Sound of the Police. I have it on DAT somewhere, like two unmixed, and then we mixed it again. I have it on DAT. I just don't have a DAT player. Yeah, for those that don't know, that song was originally for Heather B. Uh, and then she didn't use it. We recorded it, but then when she didn't use it, Chris took it back. It's funny how life works. Chris took it back and put unbelievable lyrics, one of his great vocal performances ever, on that track. And now it could be his signature song. I mean, for this generation, I mean, Step Into a World is his biggest commercial song. I think the biggest commercial songs in KRS-One's career are My Philosophy in the 80s. I'm talking worldwide. My Philosophy, Love's Gonna Get You, Step Into a World. Are like his three biggest singles. Step Into a World being the biggest single of his career. But Sound of the Police, for some reason, is the song that's most people know. Even little kids know that. I mean, it's incredibly catchy. And um, a lot of people know the chorus but don't even understand the seriousness of the record. That's a serious record. Um, Engage VR says, I'm still trying to get nervous on a film, Kenny. I don't know who owns the publishing on that. Black Priceless says, I'm still number one is Bananas. That is in my top 5 favorite KRS-One records of all time. Shout out to D Nice, who I believe co-produced that song. And he's the one that played it for me first. When I first heard Still Number One, D Nice played it for me. It was ridiculous. I feel like that should have been a single. And I would say um, Jive ruined KRS-One's career to me. Not ruined, failed his career. Joey Joe says Maxwell is under the neo soul genre tag. Okay, I didn't really see him as that, but I could be wrong. I'm not a super neo soul guy, although Erica Badu is my pound for pound favorite R&B singer of the last 30 years. Badu is like I love a few, but Badu is like my pound for pound. Outkast will be inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame by is that JD and Killer Mike? Dope. Big up to Outkast. Yeah, money earning Mount Vernon. Forgot about the money earning. Even though Mount Vernon is New York, it's not really New York City. It's right there's some towns that's right on the outskirts of New York, which still had the same culture and everything, but New Yorkers stick to the five boroughs. And really, Staten Island really wasn't even in the mix. We only really considered four boroughs. Wu Tang Clan did more for Staten Island than anybody in the history of America. If it wasn't for the Wu Tang Clan, Staten Island would not be considered New York. Definitely not hip hop. Oh man. And Staten Island's politics are so different than the other four boroughs. This is completely different. For those that's not familiar with New York City, it's the only borough that doesn't have a subway. It's like the four boroughs and then this patch of land. It's almost really New Jersey. And then Wu Tang made it, not made it. I mean, Staten Island is it's a city, but Wu Tang in the culture made it real. But yeah, money earning Mount Vernon, Yonkers, money earning Mount Vernon, Yonkers, and New Rochelle. I believe White Plains. These are on the outskirts of New York City. I'm talking to people that's not familiar with New York. And some dope MCs came out of these areas. Yonkers had what? The Locks, DMX, Mary J. Blige. Who came out of New Rochelle? Pete Rock, Heavy D, that crew. Um, Pete Rock and CL Smooth, Heavy D. Um, I don't know if anybody has ever repped White Plains. Um, but yeah, New Rochelle is the brand Nubians, one for all brand Nubians. Shout out to Dot X, who we need to bring back on this channel. Um, Brooknam, Crooklyn, here from Brooklyn, Brooklyn. East sections of Brooklyn got their own. Brooklyn is some other business, man. Yeah, Bucktown, home of the original gun clappers. That's Bushwick, I believe. Bushwick, Brooklyn is where the boot camp clique is from. David also says, Kenny, what is the last movie that you saw in a theater? Man, it's mad expensive now. You ain't lying. Um, Sinners is the last movie I saw in the theater. And I didn't get a chance to see Superman. I was so busy this summer. Superman, and I'm a Marvel guy, so I wanted to see Fantastic Four, but I didn't go. And then I was like, well, I'll just rent it. It looked like it just came out on streaming. They want $24.99 to rent Fantastic Four. What? I guess they're considering a whole family would sit down and watch it or whatever. So they're trying to charge like for like adult and some kids. I don't know, but $24.99 to watch it in your crib is crazy. But yeah, Sinners is the last movie I saw in the movie theater, but I wanted to see the Fantastic Four, but um wow, Newburgh, New York is calling itself the sixth borough. I don't know about that one. I mean, Spook Realm says people from Massachusetts are massholes. Really? Oh, wow. I never heard that before. Rich Shot says Queen. Oh, no, this is what I'm looking for. Queens get the money. No time, long time, no here. But I don't know what is Queens. I never knew Queens to have a logo, a slogan. because you got, in the parts that was popping, like Jamaica, Queens, but I don't know what's Queens's slogan. By the way, did y'all know that Funkin' for Jamaica was about Jamaica Queens? I found that out like last year. I've been listening to that song for 40 something years. Funkin' for Jamaica, Jamaica funk. The whole time they're talking about Queens, Jamaica Queens. Am I the only one that didn't know that? Thomas Swift says Poughkeepsie is the Power Kingdom. Word? I never heard that before. Mike Rock says, cool fact, New York is made up of hundreds of villages, yet has the biggest city. Yeah, New York is weird. I said Brooklyn is the fourth largest city in the world, right? I don't know if it still is, but it was in the 70s. Brooklyn by itself is the fourth largest city in the world. Let's see. Yeah, Jack. So when the sound of the police dropped, it was super controversial. How it's embraced today is crazy. Was it controversial? I thought Black Cop was a little more controversial, but I don't know. I don't ever remember KRS having any drama behind Sound of the Police. Like I don't know the police, as far as because I know the police or no kind of law enforcement never came at KRS like the FBI came at NWA over that song. But now, well, considering all the things that's going on with the police in the past 30 plus years since that song was made, it makes more sense. It made sense then, but it makes more sense now. And um, like I said, I don't know if people really listen to the lyrics. Um, David Austin Kenny, how did Chris get the name Blast Master? Did someone give it to him or he named himself that? I think he named himself that. I think that's his graffiti, part of his graffiti culture. Not sure exactly. Um, Not sure how he got the name Blast Master, but I believe it has to do with graffiti. That'd be a great question to ask him. Latrice says, "Oh yeah, I forgot Miss Keaton was in The Godfather. Yeah, that she. I mean, and Al Pacino, maybe he choked her or slapped her. He slapped her. That's what he did." Uh-huh. Chris Caldwell, Tony Kukoc or Lamar Odom. Lamar Odom for me. I love Lo, man. Loved his game. Loved his game. He was a versatile stretch four. He would be amazing in today's basketball. Mike Rocks, Bernard King, the scoring machine. Yeah, he was my idol growing up. I'm gonna big up his brother, Gerald King, the young brother, because he had two brothers who played basketball in New York. His Albert King, who was a high school All-American and a fantastic NBA player, high school and college All-American. But then he has a younger brother, Gerald, who I played against in high school and who went to Hofstra University. That's my man. I haven't seen him in a good minute, but that's my dude. Big up. Big up, Gerald King. Um, let's see. Uh, y'all throwing out a lot of names of basketball players. I don't know. I'm missing some of this conversation. Um, yeah, Jack Swagger. Jive mishandled BDP. I believe that they did, and I would go into why I think that, but I'm not going to do it today. But I got a whole rant about how Jive mishandled BDP, in my opinion. KRS once had a fantastic career, a legendary career. I believe a consideration, at least for Rock and Roll Hall of Fame career, considering people who are in. But he could have been bigger to me. Um, Sweet Goldilocks, thank you so much. Oh, Kenny, what are your thoughts about the MC Shan video I sent you on Instagram? I saw that right before I came on. Yo, there's a video, and I'm gonna shout out my man Jetta from Jersey City. He sent me that too earlier today. There's a video of the legendary MC Shan. Look like he's performing at like a wedding or some kind of wedding reception or something, and it's not that crowded. It looked like it's about 20 people, and he's doing the bridge, rapping in the room to some people. Uh, I have mixed emotions when I first saw it. Get your money, Shan. I mean, in this day and age, if you could do a song that's 40 years old and somebody will pay you money to sing a song that's 40 years old, and you are able-bodied to go out there and get that money, go get it. I don't know how much they paid Shan. That's the question. But even an artist on Shan's caliber could demand at least a couple thousand, maybe more. Let's say two. Let's say somebody gave Shan 2 grand to come in there and do a couple songs. In 2025, if you could do something for a half hour, 20 minutes, and get $2,000, that is a win, in my opinion. In this economy, in this day and age, Shan hasn't had a hit record since the 80s, and he's performing. Go get your money and rock whoever wants to see you. With that being said, it's a tough look, him going around the room. It's the outfit. Why did he have on he looked like he had on a jockey outfit or something. He looked like a court gesture, like a dancing monkey dancing around the room. I didn't understand his outfit. Maybe it was a wedding reception and he had to wear a suit, but it didn't look like a suit that you would wear to a wedding. It looked like he was like a guard at the castle gates for the Queen of England or something. It looked weird. I only watched it once, but I watched it twice. I skimmed through it twice. But his outfit made it look weird. And I did not like the fact that he was rhyming over the vocals. You guys know how I feel about rappers who rap over the vocals. You could do the bridge. The instrumental is on the record. It's on the back, I believe. You could do it. You didn't have to rhyme over the vocals. That I don't understand rhyming over the vocals, and I don't understand his outfit. But if he got paid, let's say he got paid $1,000. Let's take it to a G. If somebody said, "Yo, so and so's favorite record is The Bridge. If you come to our place and do this song, we'll give you $1,000 to do 10 minutes." How many things can you do in 10 minutes that can make you $1,000 in 2025 legally? And you're not a professional, not a doctor or a lawyer or anything like that, or like a plumber comes and fixes the sink or something and you pay him a not, you know, I don't know if MC Shan even graduated from high school. I don't know him like that. But uh for y'all, when y'all get a chance after this, check out that video. Um, to sum it up, I'm down with people getting their money. I'm down with people getting their money. It just looked the visual of it looked like damn. But in my mind, I'm thinking, but nah, he's getting paid, you know, or even if he's doing it for free, as a favor to a friend. That's cool. I just didn't understand the suit. uh, Heartthrob Forever. Thank you so much for your contribution to the channel. Much appreciated. Salute KP and the chat. Salute to you. Um, yeah. Uh, there's been 70 comments since I started talking about Shan. This is why I missed all the comments. Somebody wrote in my comment section, don't feel bad about missing the comments. There's people with really big channels who have thousands and thousands of comments going by and they don't see hardly any of them. So, but I like the comments. I like to see, and engage, but I can't see all of them. Um, yeah, engage. Strong Island is definitely Long Island. Strong Island is definitely Long Island. And enough dope rappers said Strong Island enough for it to stick. Definitely. Graybeard says Mount Vernon is a city. It is a city. Um, it is a city. I'm not going to disrespect Mount Vernon. It is a city. It's on the outskirts of New York City. It's its own thing. New Rochelle is its own thing. Yonkers is its own thing. Not trying to disrespect anybody's part of town, but when we talk about, like, if we say I'm from New York, they are from New York, but New Yorkers are very territorial. And so you'll be like, well, you from New York, but you're not from the five boroughs. So, somebody will say that. And then when you're in New York, you from New York, but I'm from Brooklyn. I'm from the Bronx. I'm from wherever. That's how I meant it. Um, Mike Rock says, I think when New Jack Swings sizzled out, there was a space then for Neo Soul space then Neo Soul emerged. No, there was a little gap. Cause I think like New Jack Swing, the style of New Jack Swing kind of sizzled in like 91, 92. Whenever Mary J. Blige, What's the 411 came out, which is one of the most important albums of all time. When that album came out with that sound, hip hop, R&B, like for real, everything changed to that. Um, so I think it went from New Jack Swing to whatever you call Mary J. Blige and Puffy, whatever they created there. And then it started really going in that direction. And then Neo Soul kind of brought it back over a little bit to me. Um, that's my take. Henry Cedillo says Harmony from BDP had a beautiful voice. Yes, big up to Harmony, Miss Melody's sister. Have not seen her in decades. Laylo 219, thank you for your contribution to the channel. Says MC Shan was at a costume party and decided to sing. Oh, that's what it was? He just impromptu jumped up? So it wasn't even for money. It was just, that's why he was wearing, okay. Now it all makes sense. So it's cool. Thank you, Layla. That's cool. I've seen that happen a bunch of times. Artists is in the building. Somebody said, come on up and do a little something for the people. And you jump up and you do your song. I thought it was a booked performance, a costume party. That's why he was wearing that outfit. Okay, it all makes sense. Thank you so much for that. Hopefully Shan don't come on this channel trying to diss. No disrespect, Shan. KP, who do you think is more sampled, KRS or Slick Rick? I would say Slick Rick. I would say Lottie Dottie by itself has to be the most sampled record of all time, probably. Single song. KRS has sampled a lot, though. I don't have the actual stats. Because actually, Slick Rick, more I think about it, Slick Rick's discography is not really sampled a lot. It's Lottie Dottie that sampled that song. which might be the most sampled song. Chris has a lot of samples from a lot of different songs. I'm still gonna say Slick Rick, and I think Chuck D is way up there too. But I'm gonna say Slick, but I don't know. There's probably the information is probably out there, so we can know exactly. CMCs, thank you so much. Yo, KP, any idea what may have happened to Bahamadia? Wasn't she signed to Guru's Ill Kid label? I think I saw Bahamadia on something like not too long ago. I'm pretty sure she's around. You mean about what may have happened to her as far as her career? I don't know what you mean. What may have happened to her? I didn't know she was signed with Guru. I had the pleasure of sitting down one day and talking with Bahamadia. Probably what year was that? Maybe 98, 97, 98. I think we had a show and she was there and me and her just chopped it up. I mean, I've seen her over the years, but we had a chance to sit and chop it up. Very nice woman. Nice, nice, nice woman. We had a good conversation. Shout out to Bahamadia. I don't know what you mean by what may have happened. Are you talking about her career or recently? Um, let's see. Jack Swagger says 24.99 for extortion 4. That's crazy. Yo, man. I know they thinking that, the whole family's gonna watch it. If you brought a family to the movie theater, first of all, you brought a family up in New York, a movie ticket is almost $20. It's like $17 or something, $18. So let's say two parents is 36 and the kids are probably like 10, couple kids, two parents and two kids is $56 and you didn't even get nothing to eat. So I guess they're saying we're going to charge half of that to watch it at home. I don't know where they got this number from, but it's crazy. It really makes me have to really, really have to like a movie to go see it. Raj Justice says Kenny sounds like he probably stopped getting haircuts once they went up to $5. No, I was getting haircuts when they $5, but when they went up, when I started getting cutting my hair low, and I'm going to the barber shop and they trying to charge me $15, $20 plus tip. And I'm like, I could buy, I was looking at the clippers they were using. I'm like, I can buy those clippers and do it myself for free. Those clippers, these clippers are like $60. 3 haircuts with these clippers is the equivalent of going to the barber shop. It pays for itself after 3 haircuts. I was like, I'm good. I can cut my hair anytime I want. I'm good. But $5 is funny. Haircut hasn't been $5 since the 80s, I believe. Patrick McLean says Notorious Queens. Is that it? I don't know. I never heard that. I'm not even gonna say this. I don't want to get banned, but never heard that one either. Um, Tom Brown, he's just an ordinary guy. Like, don't you know what? Those ad libs in fucking for Jamaica are just what would yeah, what why would you say that? Pick up to Tom Brown, whom I've never met. Yeah, R.I.P. Bernard Wright, who I believe played the bass, that crazy bass line on Jamaica Funk. Wasn't he like a child prodigy, I believe? Bernard Wright? Killer Queens? Is that maybe? I'm saying I'm not really sure um what Queens' slogan is. But whatever it was, it didn't really stick. It didn't stick. Rosmel says, I didn't know that, and I'm from Jamaica, Queens. Yeah, Jamaica Funk is about Jamaica, Queens. Dre Stack says, did not know that, and I thought the song was Jamaican funk. Jamaican funk. Jamaica funk. And that girl killed it on there, by the way. I feel it inside my soul. That's a great record. That's when that wave of when disco branched off and a lot of those records came out that was inspired by Good Times. Good Times changed the game, by the way. A lot of those records, a whole genre of sound, R&B sound became a spinoff of Good Times. And all of those records were coming out. Jamaica Funk, um, Bump on V, that's one of my favorites. Give Me the Good Life, all of those kind of records. Y'all remember that era? Um, I missed that era. I listen to that music all the time. Craig Titus Fitness 2249. I think, am I messing it up? Just read your book. Thank you so much for purchasing the book. I really appreciate it. It was incredibly moving. Thank you for your work. Thank you so much. Um, that's my labor of love, and the thing I'm most proud of that I've ever done in this life was write that book. Let me big up the person who helped me put it together. I'm gonna big up Rose Daniels. She helped me put it together, and yeah, the link is in the description below. And the audio is almost ready to come out. Um, I hope you guys like that when you hear it. Uh, I did not know this, Henry Cedillo. KDP, did you know that the Harlem Globetrotters were from Chicago and used Harlem name because they felt like that name would draw in the audience back then? Wow, I did not know that. That's really blasphemy. Uptown, uptown, uptown is kicking it. Latrice says, "Outcast is from Decatur, where it's greater." Is that the slogan in Decatur? Decatur is greater. South got something to say. Philly She said Black Cop was definitely more controversial than Sound of the Police. I to me it was, but who knows? Chris always told me that Black Cops always bigged him up for that song. Were they even listening to the lyrics? Sometimes I wonder, like I look at Public Enemy's whole career. Big up Chuck D, big up Flav, Terminator X, the Bomb Squad, the Shockley brothers. Um, they had a huge white audience, and because the music was great. But I always wondered, white people, are you listening to Chuck? Are you really listening to what he's saying? Or do you just hear the Bomb Squad's music and you're looking at flavor? Were you hearing the radical rebellion that was coming out of Chuck's mouth at the time? I always wondered about that because he held no punches in his music and had a huge white audience. Remember when in Terminator 2, the young boy was wearing a Public Enemy shirt? I thought that was so dope. Black Prices says KRS One held back on the verses. I don't know if he held back. I think there's more songs he could have done. I wish I was the DJ or the consultant for the verses with Big Daddy Kane. I was there. I always say this. I was standing there behind AZ was standing in front of me, rooting for Big Daddy Kane. Um, I wish I could have been a consultant for that versus because it would have been different for me as a KRS-One fan. What happened to RoboCop? I have a whole breakdown on this channel called Who Are the Members of BDP? Please check that out. Um, I'm not that far behind right now. KRS One's catalog is crazy. Yeah, it is for hip hop heads or older us older heads, but for the newer fans, he might have like 3 records. That's how it goes. Give Me That is one of my favorite KRS One records. Yes, from the Ghetto Music. I believe I was in the studio for that. What was the song where he cut up the sequence? Angie B. Ring ding dong. He was cutting up ring ding dong. Is that Ghetto Music? Whatever that song is, I was there for that. Uh, Is the Blast Master come from Stevie Wonder, Master Blaster? Doom, 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 which was a tribute record to Bob Marley. Uh, Blast Master, the Master Blaster? I don't know. That's a good question. DJ Q Storm says, "Yep, we some massholes here in B Town." I did not know that. Yo, that is a dope name, massholes. It's dope. Did not know that, Queen Q Storm. That is mad funny. Um, James Thomas Jr., thank you for your contribution to the channel. Says Shan already dissed the people who thought he was getting a check. LOL. It was a costume party. Um, so that means he would be dissing me too. But like I'm saying, I'm not mad if he was getting a check. I wouldn't be mad at all if that was an actual concert. MC Shan and 20 people in a little gathering, and he got paid to do that. I personally would not be mad. I understand the game. Um, but it was a costume party. Okay, cool. He just jumped up there and rocked. That's why there was no instrumental. He just threw it on. Okay. 'Cause I don't like rapping over the vocals, man. That is horrible. But okay, yeah, Shan, please, give us some context. Otherwise, people are gonna jump to their own conclusions. Uh, let's see. This is just so random. You guys are so random on here. Victor Page was nice at Georgetown. He was. I think he got overshadowed playing with Allen Iverson. This is a really interesting question, Craig. Kenny, is Said G's assessment on Scott LaRock's death accurate? I was not there, so I don't know. I disagree with some of his points, but for those that did not see the Said G interview, he came on here twice. Thank you so much. That's my brother Said G. And the first one, he said this also on Vlad TV. He has a conspiracy theory behind the ending of Scott LaRock. But to me, I don't really buy it. It's too many moving parts. Too many things had to happen to line up for it to go down the way he said it went down, as opposed to someone got hurt. New York was the how can I say this on YouTube? New York was the ending capital of America in 86, 87, with DC battling back and forth. Almost 2,000 people a year were being ended in the 80s in New York. Compare that to now, the number is in the 400s, 500. People are like, oh my God, New York is going back to the old days. The number's at 500 and something. I'm like, the old days, the number was at 2,000. So I say all that to say, what seems to be, what do they call it, Occam's razor? The theory that all things being considered, the simplest explanation tends to be the right one. What seems more plausible? There was some vast conspiracy to end Scott LaRock over some publishing money, and they all was there in the right time at the right moment to hit the right guy, or one of 2,000 people per year that got ended in violence in New York one of them happened to be Scott. I'm not saying said G's version of events is not true because I was not there. But for me, I try to go away from the conspiracy and think about what to me sounds like the most logical explanation. I like a good conspiracy, but it has to be good. It has to be something there meaty for me. And I don't know if that explanation that says she came with is meaty enough for me. I'm not going to go into it too deep on this channel. I mean, I could, but I'm not going to do it at the moment. But if you guys get a chance, check out the Said G interview I did on this channel last year. You'll see what he's talking about. And he also said the same thing on Vlad TV too. Um, that could be the case, but I don't know about that. And he implicated certain people's names in crimes with no statute of limitations. Whew, that's a great question. I would really like to get even deeper. When he was on the channel, um, I didn't really challenge him like that. I respect his opinion. I wasn't here to challenge anybody. I respect his opinion, and he made some points. I just don't know if I agree with it. Uh, JCW says, when you rant, put on the hat. I know, for those that didn't catch the episode when I had on the BDP hat, that reminds me, I'm always talking about the medallion. It's right here. Remember when everybody was rocking the medallions? This is one somebody made for us. This is from 1990. So this particular medallion, either 90 or 91, I think it was like somewhere around 90, 91, somebody made these, and I got this one. So this is 35 years old, BDP medallion. I've always believed that De La Soul had the best ones. I think X-Clan had some good ones too. I might start putting on my medallion when I do my rants. Oh man, I'm falling far behind. I'm falling. Jack Swagger says 20 people at a wedding reception with MC Shan is a spectacle. Yeah, it depends on how you look at it. Um, there's all kind of private events that people do for money. Um, there's some places where, like, you ever see them princes and them sultans from like Arabia somewhere or Saudi Arabia, the places, they be flying artists over and paying them $1 million to perform in their living room for their few guests. You'll be a big, gigantic artist. They'll pay you $1 million to come and rock in their living room because somebody liked their song. They have a whole production. Um, Even like I believe some of the, I'm not very versed in this culture, but some of the bar mitzvahs, right, have private artists come and perform for 13-year-olds. It's more than 20 people, but I say all that to say you could do a private event and make a whole bunch of money depending on who's paying. So I don't know. Um, Now, and one guy was saying that it was a costume party, so he just did it because he was in the building, which is cool, which makes it just fun. But I'm saying even if it was a wedding reception, yeah, Jack Swag said even Shan did it as a wedding gift. That's cool. I don't have a problem with that. And it makes sense why he had that outfit on. But it doesn't seem like anybody else was in costume. I gotta look at it again. Emma says Shan had a hit record in the 90s. What record would that be, Emma? Oh, Informer. Was Shan even on that song? That record sold 2 million copies, that album. I believe it was a platinum single. And I think it's something like the album sold 2 million or something. Shan might have got a nice check. That was his artist. You are correct, sort of. I mean, he produced it. Was he on the song? Oh. Yep, getting a bunch of conflicting answers now. KP Shan did it for a kids' party. That's the third different description of what this video is. Um, I saw a lot of grown-ups there. I didn't see a lot of kids. Was he supposed to be? Was he dressed like a clown? I don't know. Why would a kids' party want MC Shan to do the bridge? I don't know. I don't know. We got to get a definitive answer on what the hell he was doing there. Craig, have you ever been to Africa? No, I have not been to the motherland. Even Africa has a slogan in hip hop, the motherland. Come on, Queens. Y'all let Africa have a slogan? Oh, Onyx said South Suicide Queens. South Suicide. That's Southside Jamaica. South Suicide Queens. You can't say that word on YouTube. I'm gonna get flagged today. Um, is that the slogan? Heartthrob says our founding MCs deserve at least 5K per performance. It depends on who you are and where you are. You might be able to get that in Europe, but even in Europe, I mean, deserve has nothing to do with it. It's how many people are going to be at the venue. It's what audience you could draw, what promoter. It'd be great if they can get at least 5. But I know there's a lot of artists. There's artists performing for 1,500 with songs you know. I know for a fact that's what they're getting. But I'm saying if you can go somewhere and get $1,500 to rock for 20 minutes, drink some champagne, ride in a limo, fly back home, you could do a lot with $1,500, even in this economy. $1,500 could, I don't know what people's rents are. I mean, in New York, that wouldn't be a rent. Maybe in some places in New York, but 1,500 would be borderline rent. But in a lot of places in the country, 1,500 could pay your rent. It could definitely pay car notes and food and cable. And you go somewhere rocking for 20 minutes, you better go get that 1,500 or whatever it is. Go get that money for something you did 40 years ago. David also says Shan was at a family event. It was his niece party. Shan is wild. So he dressed up like that for his niece's party. This is the fourth uh, explanation of this. Um, it's possible. That's cool. I don't have a problem with it. I just didn't understand the suit, man. And if it was a show, why is he rocking over the vocals? But if it wasn't a show, then I could see why he did it. Drew says Shan produced Informer by Snow. That's dope. Anyway, says Shan was dressed like Lincoln. Yeah, something like that. That's why I was like, why is he dressed like that? Because that made him bouncing around look crazy. You know what he looked like? Remember the dude from Rapture video, Blondie? There was a dude in like a tuxedo and a top hat bouncing around. That's what he looked like. Big up Shan. Ronan Ali, thank you so much, brother. I really appreciate it. China Doll, what's up, Cynthia? It's my girl from college. What's good, Kenny? Loving the channel. Your memory story supporting when I'm sitting still. Yes, you're in a lot of memories too. We used to chill all the time when I was a freshman in college. Um, I used to come by Cynthia's dorm all the time and hang out. It was a whole crew. I was so young. I was like 18 years old, man. I didn't know anything. Looking back on it, remember when you were 18 and you thought you knew stuff? And now you looking back on it and you're like, damn, I didn't know nothing. Big up China Doll. Thank you so much, Cent. I really appreciate it. We gotta catch up. I say that all the time, but I've been doing so much, Cynthia, running around. But we gotta catch up and chat. Hold on. KB play. KP say unalived instead of the words they. Yeah, I see a lot of people saying unalived. That's why I got scared to even say that because the algorithm might catch on to unalived. That's why I say ended. But yeah, you're right. Um, it's real tricky on this apparatus, but it's all good. By the way, big up to the Rewind crew who's gonna check this out later. Um, please hit the like button if you get a chance right now. Just go like so it helps the algorithm. This algorithm everyone talks about. Um, and we talked about it earlier, but R.I.P. to D'Angelo and his family, especially his son who lost both parents in 7 months. Uh, Tough. What is this? Am I at the bottom? I'm at the bottom. I'm caught up. Jack Swagger says, KP at 18, you thought Shan was going to kill KRS. You really didn't know much. Yeah, I was more like at 20. I thought he was going to kill KRS. I can't say that word. Y'all can, man. Um, looking back on it though, let me say this. Like, they always say keep it on wax. KRS and Shan's relationship, I believe, was more of a keep it on wax. But entourages, I know for an absolute fact that there were people from the boogie down who were ready to take it to another level. I know this for an absolute fact. And I'm pretty sure there are people from the bridge who felt the same about Shan. And that's who I'm worried. That's what scares me. Um, More than the artist. I ain't scared of no rapper. It's the people around them. Uh, KP. Oh, that's not the one. Oh, oh no, I lost the one I wanted to say. Oh, here we go. Shan rapped at the end of Informer. I haven't seen that video in so long. So Shan had a hit in the 90s. He did. It wasn't his record, but technically he's on a not only a hit, a smash. He did have a hit in the 90s. I stand corrected. Uh, Drake Stack says, no, this is not the one I was looking for. This one. Drake Stack says, nah, we was team BDP. Thank you. Um, Jack Swagger says Shan probably got paid more than Snow for that record. Absolutely. If you know the music business, you know for a fact he got you. If you know the music business, Snow might not got to paid anything for that record. Mike Rock says Shan Left Me Lonely was the second rap ballad. I Need Love is the first. Yeah, that I Need Love changed the game. Left Me Lonely, I like that song. Rest in peace to TJ Swan, a good friend of BDP. You know, there's certain people, when I always say this, I joined BDP in late 89, 90. I was around, but I wasn't in the group until late 89 forward. And there's certain people that came around that I didn't really know them like that, but the way everybody else was acting towards them made me know that they were really cool with the crew. One of them being TJ Swan. Well, the whole Biz crew, Cool V, Biz, Swan, KRS and BDP love them. They love that whole Juice Crew thing had nothing to do with Biz and Chris, and they loved each other. And y'all know, y'all see Biz pictures over there. You know how I feel about Biz already. If you don't, get the book. But our crews loved each other. And the first time I saw TJ Swan, everybody in our crew was like all over him. So I was like, oh, they really like Swan. And yeah, Left Me Lonely was dope. I'm trying to think of another person who I did not know or did not know. When I saw how they were acting towards him, I was like, oh, okay. I got to think about that. Do you consider One Love a rap ballad? Not a ballad. I consider a ballad. I think I Need Love was a ballad. One Love was like a rap song about, because the beat was still, I consider it more like a rap record about a relationship as opposed to a ballad. It's technical. It sounds like I'm splitting hairs, but um, yeah, that's my take on it. And Dell says, from the Criminal Minded album cover, I could tell BDP was nothing to play with. I do believe, let me use the word jammy, that the jammy that KRS-One was holding on the cover was his jammy. That was his jammy that he was holding on the cover at that time. They was out there. Um, hey, it's 9:33. We are technically in OT. I wasn't even paying attention. I'm just sitting here running my mouth. I'm gonna hang on a little while longer, especially since I'm at the bottom. I am caught up right now, so I'm seeing all of the comments in real time. I should go backwards and see what I missed since I'm at the bottom. Let me jump back up here a little bit. Diamond says Russell put a stop to the song Left Me Lonely from coming out. I could see that happening. I was just talking to KRS about that. There was a BDP incident with Russell putting a stop to stuff. I'm not going to get into it. I'm going to let Chris talk about it when he gets on. But yeah, there's a lot of dirty stuff that goes on behind the scenes. Have you ever considered interviewing MC Shan? No, I have never considered it, but I would. Shan tells a lot of tall tales, man. And like, like I say, I don't like to um I don't like to challenge guests. Like that's not my thing to like get into like a whole, some people who have guests on their show, they like to get combative with them. I don't. I just like to hear their story. But Shan says some things to me that I would definitely have to say, I don't know about that. And it might be a little interesting. I like Shan. Shan has always been cool to me when I saw him. I don't have no beef, but like I remember, I'll give y'all an example. We did the MTV Raps 30th anniversary a few years back. This might have been before COVID. This might have been like 2019 or 2020, maybe 2019 or 18. This is before COVID. And Shan was on the bill. There was like 30 groups on the bill, and I believe KRS-One was the headliner. He was going last. KRS and Rakim were the headliners, and they had KRS going last. And I remember Shan was there. He performed with the Juice Crew, had like a whole set. And I remember Shan got on social media and like he brought a camera to the dressing room. The BDP dressing room had BDP on it, and he's banging on the door. KRS-One, come out now. What you want to do? And he said, KRS won't come out. See, he's scared. He's scared. He won't come out of the dressing room. And he made like a whole skit about it. And I'm watching this and I'm like, hold on. I was there. This was at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York. I was there. And when we was in that room for a good half hour, 45 minutes, nobody banged on the door. Inside the room with us was me, KRS, Hakeem from Channel Live, Tony Touch, Fat Joe, Bumpy Knuckles, and a couple of other people. Was in the room just chilling, talking, whatever. Um, Son One, his DJ at the time, he was in there talking. We was in there like half hour, 45 minutes. Nobody came to the door, nothing. Then when we left out the room to go do the show, then Shan comes and starts banging on the door, and then he made like a whole skit. Now I'm saying to myself, why you ain't banging on the door when you knew we was in there? You had 45 minutes to bang on the door. But you didn't bang on the door when we was in there. You purposely waited till everybody went on stage, and then you came and you made your whole skit. See, to me, that kind of stuff annoys me. You know, not saying that it would have been drama or beef. It could have been. But the way he was acting like he came to the door and nobody didn't want to see him or battle him, like those kind of things would make me have a problem with Shan coming on the show, because if he made comments or said stuff that I know was inaccurate, I would have to call him out on it. So I would love to have Shan on the show, but I like factual stuff being factual. You know what I mean? Like no publicity stunts, man. That's just an example of something that I would say he said that, you know, I have a problem with. Silk Child 75, King's Son, Hey Love was before Shan or LL. Hey Love, you're the one that I adore. It was right around the same time. Hey Love, hey Love, do do. He used the art of noise. Big up to King's Son. It was King's Son and D Moet, right? All of this happened around the same time. So I remember that record used to be big in the Latin quarters. It came out in 86. LL broke in 87, but LL's record, I Need Love, is the record that broke and created that whole genre that everybody ran with for decades. Some song may have been first or second or third, but LL's song was the song. But you're right, Silk Child. Hey Love could have been. It was because in my mind, it was all around the same time when these records broke. Red Alert used to play that in the quarters a lot. King's Son, Hey Love. I think I still have that 12-inch. Come to think of it. All right, we're deep in overtime right now, y'all. And now I'm starting to fall behind again. Let me scroll down. Divine Existence said if Kenny interviewed Shan, KP would be forced. Let me stop hitting this thing. KP would be forced to put on both the BDP hat and the medallion. Yeah, man. KP, what's in the cup? Water's in the cup. Jack Swagger says Shan is a walking skit. Seems that way, man. No disrespect. Um, Emma says Shan is exhausting to watch talk these days. Yeah, sometimes I see him talking. It's like he's trying to convince you that he was or still is dope, and he was and was dope. He was dope. I talk all the time. Those who got the book, I talk all the time about how much I liked MC Shan. Um, but it seems like he almost reminds me of Little Richard, where he talks just I with an I and I and I and I and I, and he's just talking and going on and on and on. Um, I don't know. Jack Swagger says Shan would have ran and left his shadow if he opened that door. I don't know, man. That's hilarious. But I mean, if he really wanted it, he could have knocked on the door. Mr. York says, KP, you just talking about Shan is raising my blood pressure. Cease. I'm not trying to raise your pressure, man. I'm not trying to diss Shan either, but he be dissing. He be saying little slick stuff from time to time, and it's cool. I still understand he still has wounds from 1986, 87. I understand that. Um, but just be factual, man. I mean, we're talking about stuff that happened 40 years ago, so our recollection could be a little off. And that's why I like to get fact checked on this channel if I'm off. But I know for a fact that that skit he did that day was a publicity stunt, and that pissed me off because I happened to be in that room, so I know what happened. And I would tell y'all, like, yo, Shan came to the door. It was real. I would tell y'all, nobody came to the door. Nobody. We're in overtime right now, y'all. Big up to the Rewind crew. Sydney Rhodes, thank you so much for your contribution. Says BDP is still number one. One, one, one. All right, I'm gonna look at a couple more comments. Um, Mike Watts says, Hey Love was released in 89. That's well after I Need Love. It might have been re-released in 89. That record, Hey Love, You're the One, that I Adore, the one that had the Art of Noise, that was on like an independent. I believe the late Tony D, the producer, did that beat, I believe. That record was um in the quarters in like 87. It really was. I don't know when it was re-released, but that record was out. Um, Lindell says, love the channel, KP. Appreciate you taking the time out to chat and reminisce. Thank you so much. I mean, I should leave it right there. This is what we do every Tuesday and Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We we chat and we reminisce. Um, and we talk about hip hop or whatever is on our minds at the time. Um, and it's therapeutic for me, so I enjoy it. And this is show number 119. Uh, we got a nice streak going. Dre Stack Dollars, thank you so much for your contribution to the channel. Thank you so much. As a you're a regular, you already know what it do. Um, all right. I'm gonna jump off. Uh, Ronan says you're a good interviewer and host. You remind me of Gil Noble from Like It Is. Y'all remember Gil Noble? I used to come on Sundays, right? Gil Noble from Like It Is. I believe that was a Sunday. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. There's quite a few people I want to talk to. Um, somebody I reached out to just last week, waiting for the response to set up a time, a good interview, but we'll see. Anyway, it's us. And I'm going to jump off. I'm going to leave that comment up there because I really like that comment. I'm going to leave that right there. Oh, wait, I can't leave it right there because this. No, not this. Not this. This thing is jumping all around. This is what I want. Rod Justice says, "Hey, love is 1987. I'm holding the record in my hand." This is what I love about this channel, how we could fact check. Yeah, it was 87. I believe it was because it was in the quarters. They used to play it. Now, I Need Love, all of those records, even Left Me Lonely might be a little after that, the video at least. But I Need Love was around that same time. All of these records were happening around the same time. Um, Another great live. Thank you so much, MMA. We're gonna jump off right now. I'm out. I'm out. I'm out of here. This is the Kenny Parker Show. We do this every Tuesday and Friday, and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Once again, D'Angelo. It's gonna take me a couple of days to just digest that. And for all of us that's here on a weekly basis, it's all just praises because you never know when one of us is not even going to be here on a live or even on a rewind. It's a blessing every day that you wake up, every day that you're not in pain or some of your loved ones are not hurt. It's a blessing. uh I'm gonna leave it at that. Patrick McLean just says, KP, you're the Cal Ripken of live streams. That is so funny, but I'm gonna leave it at that. God willing, I'll catch you guys on Friday. All right, I'm out of here. Peace and much love.